Hey, everybody. We're here with Anna Marie Knorr. She is our current city council member running again for city council, right?
Yes.
And she's been making her rounds around the community, talking to business owners, members of the community, people in the schools, residents in general, trying to go ahead and get her name out, get some information out about her campaign. But one thing that she's doing that's a little bit different than other people is she's answering questions regarding government process, transparency, economic development, small business, and some executive session stuff. So, if you're good with it, I want to ask you a couple questions and see what you have to say.
Absolutely, Ray. Thank
All
you.
right, awesome. So, first, let's start off with government process and transparency. What kinds of information or reports should council members be reviewing before a vote, and how much time should they be given before to review the vote? And what's the actual reality of that?
Well, that's a great question. This is really important because the votes that we're making are on really important topics, and having the most information about that is how you make the best vote. And so currently we receive the information for the vote when the agenda is posted. So as you know, you can go on the city website and they post the agendas usually on the Thursday before the Tuesday meeting. And then there are attachments to each agenda item that the public can see and that council members can see. And that is like the backup documentation for each agenda item. And so truthfully, we see it when you see it.
Yeah.
And I will say that I wish we had more time. I definitely do go through every packet though, and I make sure I dedicate the time it takes to review every document and review every word. But I do believe it would be helpful if the council did receive those documents earlier so that we had more time to make sure that we are informed before we vote.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense to make an informed decision rather than a decision that's been kind of sped up and pushed through, and make sure you guys are doing what's best for the community, right?
Absolutely.
So that's kind of awesome. Hopefully you have some leadway to make some changes in the future. All right, let's go ahead and talk about executive session questions. So, what is an executive session, and how do residents know that decisions aren't already made behind the closed doors?
So executive session is really an interesting thing. And I know that before I participated in an executive session, I was like, what is that? Why are they going behind closed doors, right? It seems sketchy. It really just does. It's not though. It's statutorily enabled. And it really is so that the council can talk to our lawyers and get legal advice. And then that's important. It's an attorney-client privilege. And also sometimes if we're buying land or if we're selling land or if we're doing something that if the public knew about it, it could change the price structure.
Yeah.
Or it could give people a competitive advantage or disadvantage. Those are the types of things that need to be talked about in executive session. I will say contracts, when we're finalizing contracts, we can ask questions to the lawyer and review those. And I do believe that council should have that information before we go into executive session so that when we get there, we know what questions we want to ask of the lawyer. Currently, when we get there, we get the information. And again, I'm a nerd. I like to read everything. I like to read it twice. And that's one thing I've asked for since I've been on council is that we would receive that documentation prior to entering executive session so that we can review it and be fully prepared to ask questions.
Yeah, again, it comes down to being able to make an informed question so that you can go ahead and make sure you're asking the right questions and stuff, because you don't want to overlook something. So.
Absolutely, and make the best decision.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. That makes a lot of sense. All right. Let's move on to small business and economic development. How can the city better support locally owned businesses instead of just attracting these big chains?
Ray, that is a great question and something that I'm very passionate about. Small business is what makes our community what it is. You're a great example of that. You know, homegrown, building this amazing business here in Maricopa, supporting our community. And we really need to make sure that we aren't overlooking our small businesses. Yeah, you know, having some of these large retail chains and Lowe's and Home Depot and hopefully someday a Target, that would be great. And we all love those stores, right? But at the same time, it can't be overlooked the small businesses that really created this community, that sustain this community. Those are my favorite businesses here locally. And I can assure you that I will do everything I can to help small businesses. I have small businesses reach out to me pretty consistently when they have an issue, and I'm always willing to go advocate for them at City Hall to make sure that they are given a fair shake and that they aren't being disadvantaged.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day. I know you're super busy. I'm sure you probably put tons of miles on your truck driving around town and getting things done. So thank you for taking time with me today to answer some of these questions. And I'm sure there's going to be more videos coming out with other people that you're going to do interviews with. So
absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you
Good
for
luck.
taking the time. Thanks, Ray. I appreciate you.
Yeah.